ओम गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। ओम ओम नमामि गौडपादञ्च शंकरं श्री सुरेश्वरं स्वामिनं सच्चिदानन्दमिन्द्रं तं ज्ञानरूपिणे। ओम In the 5th chapter, we were discussing the 14th and 15th shlokas. These shlokas talk of the absolute truth. Is today Sunday? Because I don't see anybody. Today is Sunday. Yeah. So these 14th and 15th, these two shlokas, na kartrutvam na karmani lokasya srijati prabhu na karma phala sanyogam swabhavastu pravartate. This is the 14th shloka, and the 15th one, nadatte kasyachit papam nachaiva sukrutam vibhuhu ajnane navritam jnanam tena muhyanti jantava. These two shlokas, 14 and 15, talk the final truth or give the final teaching of entire Vedanta, because they talk of the absolute truth, the really real truth, the absolute truth, the really real truth of Atma. So generally we see each shloka, two shlokas, let us take word by word, how each word is negating our misunderstanding. Common man's thinking is one, and it is totally talking opposite of it. That means it is negating our individual understanding and directly revealing the truth. Na kartrutvam. There is no kartrutvam. Karta is an agent of action, an individual. So he says, Atma in its real nature is not karta. Without doing anything, without making any changes, you are free from that. See, without doing anything, without making any changes, just I am free from the very doership, free from the agency of action. How? See, it's a very strange thing. Our individuality looks so natural, so real, that I am an individual. Identify with my body, sense organs. So this, my individuality, looks so natural to us. You do anything, you cannot get rid of it. That I am an individual is such a reality for us. For us, it is so instinctive, so natural. You may change anything else, but that I am an individual is impossible to go away. So therefore, seeing this, our experience, everything else changes. That I am an individual never ceases to be real, never ceases. I may tentatively suspend my experiences. My mind may go away. My mind may go to sleep. My sense organs may go to sleep. But again when I wake up, I am the same individual. So that I am an individual is a fact. Remaining an individual, I try to do something. Okay. But here Shastra says your very individuality is under question. Are you an individual? That is the thing. Are you? The reality says, Upanishad, in Upanishad's vision, you are not an individual. The very individuality is your misperception. You are looking at yourself from a wrong angle. But as you are, as you stand, as you are by yourself, you are ever free from individuality. Straight one sentence of final teaching. Like in deep sleep. In deep sleep, you are never an individual. Because you are free from, you are not an individual. You are free from your identification with body, identification with mind, sense organs, and deep sleep without doing anything. Is going to sleep, does going to sleep mean any changes? No change, because body remains body, mind remains mind, everything remains what they are, but you are not that. That's all. You are free from that. You stand as somebody who is free from the body, who is not only free from your relationship with the body, free from your identification with the body. That means you are not looking at yourself through the body, through the sense organs, through the mind. You are not finding yourself a part of the world, either waking world or dream world. You don't find yourself to be one among the many things in the world. In fact, world itself doesn't exist for you. And you exist not as an individual, you exist not as an individual, and the world also doesn't exist for you who is not an individual. See, the world doesn't exist for you who is not an individual. In the waking state and dream state, as I stay as an individual and surrounded by the world. But in deep sleep is a timeless experience. It is not a gradually you grow into deep sleep. Your waking individual, waking state, waking world, none of them exist. So deep sleep is not a gradually acquired state. State of what? Of mind? Mind doesn't exist. How do you acquire? Gradually, there is no time. There is no place. No time, no space. No movement of coming and going to deep sleep and waking. Do you ever experience a movement into deep sleep and coming out of it? The going and coming doesn't exist. The thought of going and coming pertains to waking state, but the deep sleep itself is free from anything. But it is a conscious. It is consciousness. It is a complete absolute consciousness. Deep sleep is total, absolute, non-dual consciousness. So, let us not imagine deep sleep. If you are imagining means you are staying in the waking state, through your waking mind trying to imagine. No, not imagining, because you are the waking, deep sleep. You don't go into the deep sleep. You don't go, you don't imagine, you don't think of it. You are. When you drop away your body, when you forget or when you get rid of, when you de-identify with your sense organs, with your mind, when everything is removed. Removed means even removal, there is no thought of removal, doesn't exist, that's all. No other world, no individuality, no body exists, no sense organs exist, no mind exists, no notion of I exists. I alone exist. I alone. This I is not an individual I. It is the total I, the whole universe it is. It is the complete universe. Whatever is the entire existence is there. Therefore, when you wake up, or when you wake up means from the waking standpoint you look at deep sleep, it's not available to you. So available to you means for your conception it is not available, because mind thinks it is all blank. Mind thinks it is all blank. Sense organs cannot see. Mind cannot imagine because it is very much yourself. But there is such a thing called a deep sleep. This nobody can deny. I can't deny that a deep sleep exists. Deep sleep means I alone exist without anything else. Alone is not an individual. Others don't exist doesn't mean the others, you can think of others. Even the other is also is myself. Doesn't exist means what? World doesn't exist means even that world is me. The second is also me. Therefore I can't think of it. I cannot think of it because even that has become me. When I become the whole, everything is included in me, then I can't think of anything else, because the very thought you can think only if the thing is something different from you. When there is a division of thinker and thought, when there is a division of subject and object, when there is a subject-object division, then only you can think. Thought is a relationship, a thinker and object. A thinker thinks of something. So when there is a thinker and a thought, only thought is a relation. You alone exist, you have no thought. See, it's a simple thing. Why there is no thought in deep sleep? Because thought means relation. Relation means an individual thinking of somebody else. Somebody who is limited, and there is an another. Another exists if I become a limited. If I am the whole, there is no other, because the other is included in me. The other is included in that. That cannot be referred as me, because the word me, the word I, always means a limited I in contrast with the rest. The me and the rest, subject and object. It is a pure subject without an object. The deep sleep is a pure subject, all subject, the whole subject. Without an object means object is included in it, not without. Without means how do we understand without? Even you cannot think of without an object, because even to think of that is an object, then that itself is an object. You are unable to think means there is no object. That is the thing. So the object is also included in the subject, and there is only existence, only pure existence, all pervasive existence, complete existence, infinite existence, or in other words the infinite consciousness, the whole consciousness. It includes everything. So in deep sleep, where is the waking state? It is included. Where is dream? That is included. Where is time? It is included. Where is space? Included. Where is subject-object duality? That is included. Therefore, it is one subject, the total all-pervasive subject. It is, since it is all-pervasive, the very idea of all-pervasive means there is no object. So it is a subject without an object. When there is no object, you can't call it even subject. See, when there is no object, you can't call it even subject. Yeah, generally subject means it is related to object. A subject is relative to object. Here is a subject which is non-relative subject, non-relational subject, total subject, the whole subject. It is a non-relational. It is a non-relational. I use subject, in fact subject word also can't be used, but I use because it means it is myself. It is immediate experience of me. It is just me. It is a spontaneous me, a natural me, effortless me. There is no thought. There is no thinking of mind, there is no effort, there is no struggling, nothing. It's just a natural, spontaneous, effortless me, indivisible me. I feel neither I can compare the sushupti with somebody else. In deep sleep, neither I can compare myself with other, nor I can contrast, because there is nothing which I can compare with or contrast with. Therefore, that is a reality which nobody has created, because a creation means a change. Change means a thought. So it is beyond the thought. So it is not a creation. It is not making. It is not a thought. It is itself. That's all. What can you say? It just is. Nothing else you can say. the very being is beyond thought. Thought is a change, thought is a relation, thought is creation. Thought is creation, thought is relation, thought means a change. Therefore, since it is changeless, it is beyond thought, it is beyond relation, and its existence is self-existence. Nobody need to prove it. You don't need a thought for the existence, because existence is independent of thought. Consciousness is independent of thought. Thought is a part of consciousness, is a limitation of consciousness. Thought is one aspect of consciousness, a limitation of consciousness, because thought means knowledge. Knowledge means it implies ignorance also. Therefore, thought is always relative, because it is only expressing one aspect of knowing. So when you know something, then you don't know something else. See, any knowledge implies not knowing something else. I know this, that means you know only this and not others. So the very knowledge implies partial knowledge, and other part is not known. That means mind is limited. You know something, that is a relationship. I know this and not the other. So I know this, that is a relationship. So thought means relation, thought means division, thought means limited and partial. Therefore, pure consciousness is beyond thought. Beyond thought means it is not divided. Okay. It is not relative, it is not relational, it is not partial, because thought is partial. Thought can only express one part, but consciousness is whole, including everything, excluding nothing. Therefore, no thought is possible. Deep sleep, no thought is possible, because thought implies a division, a relation. So deep sleep is another name for myself. I alone am. Alone is not an individual alone. It is a total alone, the universal alone, the total alone, universal alone, the wholeness it is, all inclusive oneness, all inclusive me, and no thought. So this is nakartrutvam. It is God cannot, God has not created it. He says Prabhu, Atma has not created, because it is Atma's natural state. Creation means, as I told you, a thought. A thought, in the thought alone there is movement. In the thought there is a movement. The movement requires a thought. It is a thought alone that moves, relates. So before you start relating, before you start moving, you, the bare you, the natural you, spontaneous, effortless you may call it you or I. Even you and I words are in common parlance. You and I are relative words. You and I are relative, but here it is not relative. I say that word and again use it, because there is no way, you have to use some word. It is I and not a relative I. Then why do you use I? I means a very intimate experience. It is not away from me. It is not away from me. If what is away from me need a thought to get connected with it. What is away from me? What is other than me? I need a thought to relate to it. In order to relate to it, I need a thought in between it. So here it doesn't need a thought. You need a thought to relate to something which is other than you. You don't need a thought for yourself. To be yourself, you don't need a thought. To be, just to be, is not a thought. But you see something else, you need a thought. To be is not a thought, because being is natural existence. It doesn't need a thought, it is beyond the thought. Therefore, the very being is beyond thought. And a thought is one part of it. Thought itself is a part of it, an imposition on it, a creation in it. A creation, an imposition, a partial, whatever you call. Therefore he says, nakartrutvam, nakarman. Each shloka is amazing. Each time you think of Bhagavad Gita and Upanishads, Each time you think of the shloka, each time you get a new understanding. Because these words, I feel they are not just words, you don't know what they are. You don't know what they are. These are all Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna's words. These are all Rishi's words, Upanishads, you take them. You don't know what they are. You cannot call even words, because word has got some meaning, some relationship. But these words are such, you can't call them words, because they are functioning, they are functioning beyond words. They are dismissing themselves and taking you to somewhere else. These words transcend themselves and take you to somewhere else. They help you also transcend yourself. They transcend themselves, they help you to transcend yourself, and then you reach an experience which is just beyond words. Words help you to go beyond words. Words help you to go beyond words. It's a strange thing. It's an amazing thing of Upanishads. Words help you to be beyond words. But you use the word, at the same time you are free from it. And the same thing, how to be free, the same words help you. The same sentences help you. That's why this language of Upanishads, language of Bhagavad Gita, is just not an ordinary language. It's an amazing language. Therefore say nakartrutvam, nakarmani. Karma is a change. Karma is a movement. Karma is a relation. So nakarmani, there is no individuality. Nakartrutvam, no individuality. Nakarmani, no relation. Lokasya srujati prabhuhu, it doesn't exist. Srujati means you imagine, you think. He doesn't think. That means he is free from thought. Prabhuhu doesn't think. That means he is free from thought. So we can say that he is free from thought. Because thought is creation. Srujati. Srujati means thought is creation. Thought is relation. Thought is a change. Creation means a change. Thought is a change, thought is a creation, thought is a relation. Na srujati, that means there is no thought. Okay. Prabhu, na karma phala sanyogam. Karma phala sanyoga. See, sanyoga is a contact. Contact means you reach a point as a result of something. Karma is some doing, some change, some action. Karma phala is the result of some action, the result of something. Sanyoga is you reaching a point which happened to be result of something. Therefore, there is no question of reaching a point which is a result of something. Something means it always presupposes some action, some change, some movement. As a result of some change, as a result of some movement, you reach one point. That means it is an acquired state. It is an acquired state. As a result, acquired means acquiring is some change. Either you go away or you come back or you do something, something happens. You do something and as a result of that something, you reach a point. This is called karma phala sanyoga. He says there is no karma phala sanyoga because karma phala sanyoga is again cause and effect relation. So the cause and effect relation is again a thought. Therefore, you are free from thought. You are just you. There is no movement of you towards yourself. No movement is possible of you towards yourself. See, what movement is there for you to go towards yourself? I'll give you a simple example. In your waking state, you can think of anything else. And to think of anything, you need a thought. I ask you, think of a book. Instantly, a thought of book comes. Think of a table. A thought of a table comes. Think of a tree. As a thought of a tree comes, you become aware of the tree. That means you are a thinker and there is a tree, you are thinking about it. So there is a relation, there is a thought. You need a thought. You need a thought to arise in you to think of something other than you. But I say you are conscious. I say you are. Is it a new thought? Are you creating a new thought to understand that you are existing? See, anything else you need a thought to think of. You need a thought to think of anything else. But now I refer to few things like book, table, tree and so many things. Now I refer to you. Now do you need a thought? These words, does it create a new thought for you? That I exist is already an existential fact. You don't need a thought. In fact, a thought is only a restatement. You don't need a thought to say that you exist. Since you exist, a thought may arise. You exist, in your existence a thought arises, but the thought after arising doesn't bring your existence. See, existence of anything else comes only through thought. Like book, the book comes only through thought. Without thought there is no book. Tree, when I say, the tree comes to you, to your awareness only through thought. Without thought, tree doesn't come. A table comes to you only through thought. Without thought there is no table. Anything comes to your awareness through thought alone. Into your awareness, anything comes through a thought. Without thought, nothing comes. What about yourself? The very consciousness doesn't need a thought to come, because consciousness is not a matter of coming. Neither it comes nor it goes. The very coming and going is a thought. The very coming and going means a thought. The thought is in the consciousness. That it has come is a thought. That it has gone is a thought. But the consciousness itself neither comes nor goes. So in the consciousness, all other thoughts come and go. Consciousness itself is not a thought because it doesn't need a thought. Before the thought arises, it is there. The very thought arises in it. That thought goes away, still consciousness is. So for the consciousness to be, to exist, you don't need a thought. It is beyond thought. That's what the shloka says. The shloka says, we are stuck with thoughts. Generally we think only in thought, we are stuck in the thoughts alone. Anything you do, anything you think, anything you understand, anything you don't understand, everything is a thought. Thinking is a thought, understanding is a thought. I don't know is a thought. A change is a thought. Good is a thought, bad is a thought. Near is a thought, far is a thought. Relation is a thought, before and later is a thought. Time is a thought and space is a thought. Subject object is a thought. Everything is a thought. That means we live only in the thoughts. In the relation of thought, in the functioning of thought, we live only as a thought alone we live it. Therefore we are stuck with the thought alone. And anything you listen, any Vedanta you listen, people generally think even Vedanta is also another thought alone. This is where we make big mistake. Vedanta is not a field of thought. It helps you to transcend the thought. It helps you to see, it helps you to discover something which is unrelated to thought, which is not through thought, which is not in terms of thought. You stay without a thought. That is the thing. You stay without the thought. It's a discovery, it's an understanding where thought is not required. The thought itself understands its limitation. Thought understands its limitation and becomes irrelevant. See, thought understands that it is irrelevant. So you come to an experience. You come to your own intimate existence where thought is irrelevant. Thought is meaningless. When the thought means a relation, a change. When the thought becomes irrelevant, what remains? Something where the thought is not related. Thought is irrelevant. Thought is meaningless. A simple example. To see something you need eyes. To see something else you need eyes. Okay. To see the hand, to see my hand you need eyes, whether near or far. That I am, that I exist, do you need eyes to see? That I exist, I am, I am. Do you need to see through your eyes? Do you need to see through your eyes that I am? After seeing it, you come to know that you exist. Before you open your eyes, did you not exist? Don't you have that experience of your existence? Don't you have, I mean, are you not existing before you open your eyes? In fact, opening my eyes and closing my eyes exist in me. Me means the very existence. The very being doesn't need eyes, it is independent of eyes. Similarly, thought, when you understand, thought is irrelevant. Thought means the entire world. Thought means individuality. Thought means all kinds of experiences. Thought means everything. So, the consciousness or the being or the real nature of me or the reality, whatever you like to call, the reality of the world, the truth of the world or the truth of me, the real truth, the real thing is because it is self-existing. It doesn't need to be proven through thought. Thought doesn't need to prove that existence. In the existence, thought arises. Thought has an existence in that pure existence. The existence is self-existing. It doesn't need thought. We only have to learn how thoughts are coming and going, and thoughts are irrelevant, thoughts are limited. Thought cannot encompass the entire existence. Thought can only show one aspect of existence. Thought can only show a relational existence. Thought can only think of relational existence. But the pure existence, the whole existence, the infinite existence itself is beyond thought. That means thought is not required. Thought is irrelevant, unnecessary. Thought has no place. The thinking has no place in the existence. The existence is so free, so independent that it doesn't need a thought. Whether thought comes or goes, it is immaterial. The existence or the being is being. The consciousness is consciousness in spite of thought coming and going. Thought may come, thought may go. It doesn't make any difference. Thought arises, doesn't make any difference. Thought disappears, doesn't make any difference. The consciousness is consciousness. Therefore, thought, we are in the thought. We live in the thought. We are stuck with the thought. We, the very individuality, is a relation with the thought, is a thought. Therefore, understanding how thought is limited. Thought is limited, thought is relational, all this is relational, all this is limited. It can only show one aspect of it. It can't show the whole existence. Therefore, thought itself becomes irrelevant. Thought itself becomes incapable. You understand thought's incapacity of all thoughts. The very thinking process, whether good or bad, and the biggest thought you think of, the subtlest thought you think of, all kinds of thoughts, the bigger than the biggest and smaller than the smallest. All your thoughts, the highest thought you can think of, the smallest thought you can think of, all the thoughts are relative. So, all the thoughts, the total field of your thinking, the complete field of the extent of your thinking is limited. Limited in the sense it is incapable of grasping the very infinite existence. The infinite being cannot be grasped by the thought. The thought becomes irrelevant, incapable and helpless. Thought becomes helpless, incapable, irrelevant. This is what is the discovery of the truth. The truth is self-existent, the whole, where the thought becomes irrelevant. Irrelevant because thought is only relative, but the very relative itself shows that I am leaving out many things. When thought you think of something, you only think of something and leave out many things, many other things. Therefore, thought cannot grasp the whole, encompass the whole. It cannot grasp the whole thing, because in the whole, the thought itself looks so small, so irrelevant, so meaningless. Therefore, the wholeness is self-existent. The wholeness is complete and itself. It stands on its own. It stands by itself. It is self-existent. It is self-shining. Self-shining means it stands on its own without depending on thought. Without depending on thought means thought may come and may go, doesn't make any difference. It is there, okay. If it is not there, okay. Whether thought is there is also okay, is not there also is okay. Like silence. Silence is a silence. Silence means not speaking. Silence is there. It's a naturally, you don't create silence. You start speaking, but you can't start silence. Silence is not a result of something. Silence is a natural existence. So you can say I am speaking. I start speaking. Speaking is an effort. Speaking is an action. Silence is not an action. Silence is the being. Silence is a being. Speaking is an action. You can speak, you can stop. Speaking is an action. It is a thought, but silence is not a thought. See, silence is not a thought. It doesn't begin, it doesn't end. Silence has no beginning and ending. The very beginning ending means a thought. Thought begins and ends. Silence neither begins nor ends. Nor it is related to something. Silence is natural, self-existing. It neither begins nor ends. It is there. Just it is there. Nothing else you can say about it. Even this word that it is there is not required for its existence. Even if you don't say that it is there or it is not there, you need not say that. Even without that telling, it exists. Therefore, silence is self-existing. Okay, therefore, na karma phala sanyogam. Then why do I find it? Swabhavastu pravartate. This subject, object, relational, karma, cause and effect relation, all this is a thought alone. All this is a thought. He says, Swabhavastu pravartate. All this is an instinct. Swabhava means it is not made by somebody. You find yourself with it. The thinking, the thought, the individuality, the world, all this is choiceless. You find yourself to be an individual. As an individual, you find yourself to be thinking. And as a thinking, you find yourself to be related. All this is natural, instinctive. You have not become an individual. You find yourself to be an individual. I am talking about the world now, samsara, jiva. Other than the Brahman, other than the truth, we are talking of this worldly life. It is swabhava he is using. Bhagavan Krishna uses word swabhava. Shankaracharya says swabhava is swabhavaha swabhavaha avidya lakshana. It's a technical word. He just said in one word. It doesn't explain much. Prakritir maya. Avidya lakshana prakritir maya. That means it is choiceless. Anything you do, you can't escape your individuality. See, this is a very strange thing. By doing, you can't escape being individual. You stand as an individual. As an individual, you are related. So that means the thinking or a thought is naturally there. You can't escape. As an individual, you can only think. Once you think, there is a relation. That means you continue in the relationship. There is an individuality related to other, subject-object relation. You are in this relational experience. This relational experience continues. More you think, more you remain in this relational. There is no way. You can't do anything else. And anything you do, you will be only in this relational. It is a choiceless. Therefore, this choiceless maya or the vidya or adhyasa is choiceless. Choiceless means you cannot choose to be an individual or you cannot choose to be non-individual. Should I cease to be individual? You have no choice. Should I cease to be individual? You have no choice. Because all your choice means thinking only. All your choice is a thought. Choice means will. Your will only thinks. Your will only creates an action, a relation, an action. Will, so you have become individual not out of will. Will has not made you individual. As an individual you are willing, you are using your will. Therefore, that I am an individual is choiceless for me. It's a strange thing. But he says, Nadatte kasachit papam. So, the actual Atma, the real nature of Atma is beyond these things. So, in this, at the level of the thought, it is choiceless. Means with your will you can't stop it. You can't stop your sense of individuality with your will. As an individual you are related to the world. This you can't stop with your will. Because by using will you will only be related to the world, you will only be a part of the world, you will only be a part of a thought. You can't stop by using your will. That means that I am an individual related to the world, I am thinking, this relational is choiceless. But you can discover, you can understand that Atma in its real nature is beyond all this relational. A non-relational Atma, the pure Atma, self-existing Atma, is also choiceless at another level, that is in your real nature, paramarthik level. In your real nature is also choiceless, and this individual nature is also choiceless. Within this ignorance, within this ajnana level, as an individual level, it is beyond your will, you continue to be there alone by doing any amount. So you can use your will only in one way. You can use your will for vichara, Vedanta vichara. Shastra helps you, Shastra points out. You can only pay attention. Vichara means what? Observation. Observation means to pay attention. Pay attention to your universal experience. Upanishad points out, Vedanta points out. Where it points out, you just pay attention. Your will operates up to that point alone. You pay attention, that's all. Your will works up to that extent. When you pay attention, Upanishad points out. Vedanta when points out, you happen to discover. In the discovery, you are free from individuality, you are free from thought, you are free from the world. That discovery, that knowledge takes place, then you are choicelessly free from individuality. As an individual, it is choiceless. When you discover that you are free from individuality, you are the pure consciousness, the absolute universal consciousness, there it is again choiceless. That absolute level, you are Brahman, is choiceless. At an individual level, you cannot control it, you can't stop. You can't stop being an individual, it is there. So, you can only discover by turning your attention towards the Atma. With the help of the teaching, you can only discover. Therefore, the discovery is only coming to recognize it, coming to cognize the fact. In that fact, you are free from individuality. It is a fact, it is a truth about yourself. That in that truth, you are already free. You can only come to discover it. And you pay attention, you come to see that you are already free. That's all can be done. So it is a choiceless, a fact is choiceless. Silence is choiceless. Nobody can choose to be silent. Silence is self-existing fact. Similarly, your Atman is non-dual, a free, ever free, non-relational, self-existent, which is naturally there. It is choiceless fact. Because first thing is, you are not an individual. Where is the question of choice? It is an individual alone has a will. So the Atma is beyond will. So it's just there. Atma is beyond the will, it's just there, and there is nothing second to challenge its existence. There is nothing second to challenge its existence, to pose any threat to the existence. Existence is naturally there, it is self-existence. Okay, therefore in the worldly individuality, coming to individual again, from the individual standpoint, you have a will and you keep doing something. And now he says the will does something, and when you do, you reach a point as a result of your doing, as a result of your choice, as a result of using your will, you reach a point, you reach another thought, another state, another relationship. So this is karma, karma phala, cause and effect. Therefore nadatte kasyachit papam. Therefore as an individual you do something and you get a result of something, but in reality there is neither doing nor reaching a point. Neither you do something nor you reach a point. Nadatte kasyachit papam nachaiva sukrutam vibhu. Neither you do something nor you reach a point. There is no doing, no reaching, because you are self-existent. You are the whole in which nothing is outside you, nothing is away from you, in that absolute oneness. Therefore, then why do I feel like that as an individual? That individuality is only an ajnanam. Ajnanena vritam jnanam tena muhyanti jantavaha. There is an instinctive misunderstanding. This misunderstanding or adhyasa is not a matter of your will. You have not willed to become an individual, and by will you can't stop your individuality. That's what we call anadi adhyasa, an instinctive adhyasa, an instinctive thought. Anadi adhyasa, ajnanena avrutam jnanam tena muhyanti jantavaha. It is an instinctive thought, and because I am in that instinctive thought, I am under delusion, I am suffering. Delusion means I suffer, though it is wrong, I helplessly suffer. Muhyanti means I continue to be in that, I continue to be in that state helplessly. Whatever I do, I may use my will, but in spite of my using will, in spite of doing something good and bad, I continue to be individual. I continue to be related. I continue to be individual related to the world. Within the world you may do slightly better, slightly worse, but as an individual being related to the world is inescapable. I mean in the level, worldly level it is inescapable. You can only understand with the help of Vedanta. In understanding you can discover that you are free from this individuality. But as an individual you can't escape, it is choiceless. As an individual, by using my will, I can't escape my individuality. I continue to be individual. By using the will, I continue to be individual. Because more I use the will, more I am an individual. Because the will is used by individuality. The individuality expresses as a will. Individuality always expresses as a will. You can't escape. But individuality can only will. It can't do anything else. Therefore, discovering that your real truth, that you are free from will, free from individuality, is another level of the fact. And a truth, an absolute truth, you can only discover with the help of Vedanta, with the help of Vedantic teaching. It points out, it helps you to direct your attention in a right way, where you understand the thought is unrelated, it is useless. Thought is irrelevant, useless, and you stand as free from it. Okay, therefore, muhyanti, people are deluded. Deluded means they are still in this misunderstanding. They continue to be in that misunderstanding, a misperception. They just don't know how to get out of it. Because all the means in their hands will only keep them going in that relative world alone. Jiva and the world, all that is in his hands, sense organs are in his hands, mind is in his hands, will is in his hands. He can feel, he can think, he can perceive, he can infer. But this process of thinking, This act of thinking, perception, inference, willing, action, experiencing, all this is through individuality only. As an individual, you are all these things doing. And by doing all these things, you continue to be individual. No escape at all. Therefore, this is called moha. Moha means whatever is in your hands you do, but doing all those things you remain there. By all your attempts you remain there alone. You don't seem to be moving at all. By doing all those things you continue to be in that relative state of subject-object alone. The subject-object relationship can only prolong subject-object relationship. By the relationship you continue to be subject-object. There is no way of becoming free from subject-object relationship. This is what is delusion. Just don't know what to do. And anything you do, you will remain the same. It is just such a helpless situation. That is the time you go to Vedanta, you go to a guru. Guru means a person who knows it. Guru is not a person, it is that fact, it is that knowledge, it is that understanding. Okay, wherever you may get it in whatever manner, wherever you get the teaching in whatever manner, the teaching is Guru. Okay. So we are not personalizing, individualizing it. It is the very teaching. It is a universal fact. Pointing your attention, you are paying your attention towards the universal fact. And what points out is Guru. Therefore we say Guru is only Ishvara alone. It is God alone. It is not an individual. Individual is only a medium for expression, is a vehicle. This individual body, mind is only a vehicle. It is the truth that is expressing. Okay. So aviveka. So jnanena, only by knowledge alone you can falsify this individuality. You can discover how this individuality is a false, irrelevant. The thought thinker, this is only a false in your real nature, in that real nature of the truth. In the real truth, this individuality, this relative world is only a false. This you can discover. Jnanena tu tadajnanam. With the jnana means with that understanding. Understanding comes as a result of your observation, as a result of vichara, as a result of self-inquiry. Self-inquiry taught by Vedanta. Vedantic teaching is in self-inquiry. So as a result of that inquiry, tadajnanam nashitam. A person, in him this sense of individuality is understood to be false and irrelevant to the Atman which is ever free. When a person discovers that, nashitam atmanaha, when ignorance is destroyed, means falsified, is understood as wrong, you are no more an individual. Neither you were before, nor you are now, nor you will be ever be. Because you are always free from individuality, you are that pure being, pure existence, pure consciousness, ever existing, undisturbed, like the silence. Silence is undisturbed, it is self-existing. A person who discovers Tesham adityavat jnanam prakashayati tatparam, his understanding is eternal. Once he discovers that, he is totally free. Like the light of a sun which spontaneously illumines. In contrast with the light of a lamp. A light of a lamp is not permanent because it needs an oil, it needs a wick. It needs a wick, it needs an oil, somebody has to light it. And that lamp prolongs as long as the oil is there. If the oil is exhausted, the lamp gets extinguished, it goes out. The flame goes off, the flame goes out when the oil is exhausted. But here the sun's light is naturally there. It neither begins nor ends because it doesn't need oil, it doesn't need wick. It's only common man's example, don't go by the scientists. Scientists say something which we don't know, that's different. We are only giving a common man's example. Example is an example, illustration is illustration, don't stretch it beyond it. Okay? In contrast with a lamp, and in a lamp, the flame of a lamp depends upon oil and wick. Therefore, it is a dependent one, it is not natural. Or you take it radium. Radium's light is natural. It doesn't depend upon anything. Similarly, sun's light is natural. Therefore, the light of the Atma, the consciousness of Atma. Atma means consciousness only. The consciousness of Atma means the very consciousness is natural. Teshamadityavat jnanam prakashayat param. 16th shloka we are touching. Adityavat, like the sun. Their knowledge, their consciousness is like sun, always remains. Prakashayati. Tat param. Param jnanam is the highest knowledge, absolute knowledge. There is no knowledge beyond it. And this knowledge is a perfect knowledge, complete knowledge, whole knowledge. All other thing is less than this. This is the final knowledge. And this knowledge shines in him spontaneously, effortlessly, like the sun shines. One who understands it, he becomes free from ignorance. Okay? Then how to gain that? Earlier he told it is an ignorance that you are an individual is a misunderstanding, an instinctive misunderstanding, a misperception that you are an individual related to the world. This goes only by jnanam. The 16th shloka says this goes by jnanam. How do you gain jnanam? By vichara. What is the nature of vichara is touched in the 17th shloka. Tad buddhayastadatmanastan tatparayanaha gacchantya punaravrittim jnana nirdhuta kalmashaha. The 17th shloka is telling how do that vichara. And the 18th and the 19th says, after that understanding the truth, how you are free, that nature of understanding, the nature of Atma Jnana, how do you live? The 18th and 19th says that. Okay. 17th says, 17th we have to discuss, 16th we have finished today, 17th we will discuss in the next class about the very vichara. And the 18th and 19th shlokas talk of, as a result of that understanding, how it is not a result, it is a natural state only, how you are free. The nature of freedom, the nature of moksha is explained there. Then the 20 is, 20 also same, 21 also same. I think 4 shlokas say, 18, 19, 20, 21. Yeah, 18, 19, 20, 21, the 4 shlokas. The 4 shlokas talk of the very freedom you get as a result of understanding the truth. See the nature of freedom, how free you are. It talks of the nature of freedom on discovery of the truth. So that inquiry will be touched in the 17th. Then after that in the next class, 18 to 21, 4 shlokas together will discuss the freedom, the nature of freedom, how you are free. Okay. Then thereafter he talks of Vairagya and other Karma Yoga sadhana. Then thereafter from 22 onwards he talks of Karma Yoga, purity of mind and other sadhanas. He talks of them. Okay. I think I am tired. We will see in the next class. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om Tat Sat.